Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. So today, we're jumping into quite a stack of tech happenings. It really defines where we are right now. And our mission, really, is to help you get fully up to speed on three big themes. First, these new AI security risks, then the surprising costs, environmental and creative, of this whole AI boom, and finally, what's actually going on with Google's latest hardware.
Yeah, it's a real mix, isn't it? Innovation, but also these unexpected side effects. We're going to try and cut through the noise, focus on what you really need to know. And maybe we should start with that big risk, AI agents getting hold of sensitive data.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
We're all starting to use these AI agents more, right? Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they're booking things, making playlists.
Making life easier, supposedly.
Exactly. But 1Password just flagged something pretty serious about handing over passwords to them.
Right. And what's really interesting is the basic problem, like the architectural issue. Humans forget complex passwords, thankfully sometimes. But an AI, especially one based on a large language model, an LLM, it's designed to process and hold on to information. So if that agent gets compromised, or maybe it just remembers a password from before, that becomes a huge ongoing risk for data leaks.
Hang on, that implication, that's pretty big. If AI agents are basically becoming our new web browsers, then this 1Password fix, what's it called? Secure agentic autofill?
That's the one.
It sounds like it's not just about passwords. It's like setting up the first real boundary between the AI's brain and our critical data. How are they actually creating that separation?
That's the clever part. They call it a human-in-the-loop workflow. So the AI agent gets to a login page to ask 1Password for help.
Bruh.
But, and this is key, before anything happens, you have to approve it using something physical, like your fingerprint with Touch ID.
Okay.
If you approve, then 1Password sends the credentials straight into the browser. And it does this over an end-to-end encrypted channel.
Ah, so the AI agent itself.
Never sees the password.
Yeah.
Neither does the underlying LLM. They just get the, okay, you're logged in result. It's a neat way to handle it.
That sounds, well, pretty sophisticated. And clearly needed, because we've got some scary numbers about how often company data is already leaking through AI, right?
Absolutely terrifying numbers. New data shows AI chats. We're talking ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude are now the #1 source of data leaks in the workplace.
Number one, more than email, more than cloud storage.
Officially surpassed them. It's the main way sensitive data is getting out now.
How is that even happening? We've spent decades building walls around email. Why are chats suddenly the weak link?
It's basically a huge blind spot, a new kind of shadow IT, really. You've got almost half of employees in companies using generative AI at work. And they're pasting sensitive stuff, financials, customer info, strategy documents, right into these chat windows.
Oh, wow.
And get this, 77% of the time, it involves real company data.
Okay, I think I see the failure point now. Our traditional security tools, the data loss prevention stuff, they're looking for file uploads, right? Or big downloads.
Exactly. So when someone just copies and pastes text into a chat box on a website...
It just looks like normal browsing.
Precisely. And often, they're using their personal AI accounts, not company-managed ones. So IT has no visibility. The data just bleeds out, bypassing all the security we've built up over the years.
That's, yeah, a staggering risk for businesses. Okay, shifting gears slightly, but still on security, there was a big, maybe more traditional breach at Discord recently.
Correct. A classic supply chain attack.
Yeah.
It happened through one of their third-party support providers, Zendesk. There was a compromise back on September 20th. Attackers got access to the usual stuff: real names, usernames, email addresses, IP addresses, also purchase history, and the last 4 digits of credit cards.
Okay, standard breach data, unfortunately. But wasn't there something particularly worrying for a specific group of users?
Yes, that's the really concerning part. Users who had gone through an age verification appeal process. Their actual government-issued IDs, like driver's licenses or passports, were exposed.
Oof, that's serious identity theft material.
Absolutely, the worst-case scenario there. So the usual reminder, but it's extra important now. Be super careful about phishing emails pretending to be from Discord, especially if they sound urgent or ask for personal details. The attackers have enough info now to make those emails look very convincing.
Right, good advice. Okay, so if AI security is one major headache, the sheer cost of running all this AI, that's turning into another nightmare, isn't it? Let's move from digital leaks to the physical footprint.
Yeah, the energy cost. It raises this huge sustainability question that often gets glossed over in all the excitement. Projections are showing AI is likely to be the single biggest driver of new electricity demand in North America over the next 5 years.
The biggest driver, that scale is hard to grasp. What about longer term, like looking out to 2040?
It gets even more dramatic. By 2040, just the data centers running AI are projected to consume something like 12% of all electricity in North America.
12%, just for AI.
Just for AI data centers, and globally. The total energy use for all data centers, not just AI, is expected to basically quintuple by 2040, and AI is predicted to be responsible for over half of that massive jump. This computational arms race, it's not just financially expensive, it's got a huge environmental cost too.
Wow. That energy drain, it kind of runs parallel to these other costs, the ethical ones, the creative ones, like this clash between creators and AI art seems to be really heating up.
It is, and DC Comics just drew a very clear line. Their president, Jim Lee, stated flat out, the company will not support AI-generated storytelling or artwork. Not now, not ever.
That's a pretty bold stance, isn't it? Especially when some competitors might be tempted to use AI to cut costs. What's their reasoning?
It's both strategic and philosophical, I think. Lee believes fans value authenticity, real human creativity. He said something like, and I think this quote really nails it, AI doesn't dream, it doesn't feel, it doesn't make art, it aggregates it.
It aggregates it.
Yeah. DC is essentially betting that the soul of human creativity is what fans are actually buying.
Interesting. And then on the other side of that coin, we saw the legal system put a price tag on using copyrighted stuff for training AI with that Anthropic settlement.
Exactly. A massive one. Anthropic settled for $1.5 billion over claims of piracy. It basically confirms they trained Claude, their big LLM, on almost 500,000 copyrighted books downloaded illegally from places like LibGen.
$1.5 billion. That sends a message. So what does that mean for the authors whose books were used?
That's where it gets concrete. The settlement estimates that copyright holders whose books were part of that training data could get around $3,000 per book.
Per book?
Per book, yeah. Provided they file a claim before the deadline, which is March 23, 2026. What this really does is put a clear financial liability on using dodgy training data. It's likely going to change how companies source material for future AI models, or at least make them think twice.
Okay, let's pivot to jobs. There's been so much talk, almost panic, about AI taking over jobs everywhere, but some new survey data suggests maybe the real risk isn't quite as high as people feared.
Yeah, this is a really important distinction that often gets missed. We need to separate tasks that can be automated, and yes, there are lots of those, from entire jobs that are actually vulnerable to being replaced. This survey estimates only about 6% of U.S. jobs, maybe 9.2 million, fall into that truly vulnerable category.
Only 6%. That feels much lower than some of the, robots are taking all the jobs headlines.
It's way lower than some predictions, yeah. Some people are talking like half of all office jobs would disappear overnight.
So if the tech can automate many tasks, what's protecting the other 94% of jobs? Just like inertia? Or
mostly non-technical stuff, actually. Barriers like client preference.
Yeah.
People still want a human pilot, even if AI could fly the plane.
You're right.
Or regulatory requirements that mandate human oversight for certain roles. These sorts of soft barriers seem to be acting as a buffer, slowing down disruption and making it more targeted than those initial, maybe slightly panicked forecasts suggested.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, these technologies, they run on the devices we use daily. So let's talk hardware. That massive AI infrastructure cost we mentioned, it connects directly to the gadgets in our hands. How's Google doing with its latest foldable, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold?
Well, they've made some interesting trade-offs. Price-wise, it's pretty compelling. Starts at $1,799, which is $200 less than Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7. And they definitely focused on durability and battery. It's got a solid IP68 water and dust resistance rating, a big 5,015 milliamp battery, and real bright screens, like 3,000 nits peak brightness.
Okay, cheaper, tougher, better battery. There's usually a but, isn't there? Where's the compromise?
The trade-off is mainly in size and raw speed. It's still pretty chunky, almost 11 millimeters thick when closed, and weighs over 9 ounces. Noticeably heavier and thicker than the Samsung. And performance-wise, that Tensor G5 chip, while capable for everyday stuff, it lags behind in really demanding tasks. Reviewers found things like video transcoding took way longer, like over 2 minutes compared to under a minute on the latest Samsung chip.
Okay, so if you're constantly editing video on your phone, you'll feel it. But for average use, maybe the durability and battery went out. What about Google's famous AI features on the Pixel? How are they holding up?
They're useful, definitely practical, but you can still see they're kind of first-gen software. Magic Q, for pulling up flight info, apparently it can sometimes grab the wrong details or get confused.
Right.
And Voice Translate, the feature that mimics your voice when translating, reviewers said it works pretty well, but sometimes creates this slightly odd, synthesized accent when it mimics you. So handy features, but still need a bit more polish. Not quite seamless yet.
Gotcha. And for people who maybe don't want to splash out on a flagship foldable, Google also put out a cheaper version of their earbuds, right? The Pixel Buds 2A. What's the deal there?
Yeah, the $129 light version of the Pixel Buds Pro 2. Surprisingly, they kept the same sound quality and drivers, which is a big plus. And they actually improved one thing. The charging case is smaller and has a replaceable battery, which is great for longevity.
Replaceable battery. Nice. So what did they cut to hit that price point?
Mainly features. You lose wireless charging for the case. The active noise canceling is a step down. They call it Silent Seal 1.5 instead of 2.0 on the Pros. And fewer microphones per bud, so call quality in noisy places might not be quite as good.
Makes sense. Trade-offs again. Okay, speaking of listening to users, Apple actually backtracked on something with the iPad interface, didn't they?
They did. Remember when iPadOS 26 launched, they got rid of the old slide-over multitasking feature for quickly tucking an app off to the side?
Yeah, people weren't happy about that.
Exactly. Lots of complaints. So Apple listened. They're bringing slide over back in the iPadOS 26.1 beta. For now, it only supports one app at a time, but still, it shows they do pay attention to user feedback sometimes.
Good to see. Okay, let's hit some quick regulatory and legal points. First up, a win for consumers in California, potentially quieter streaming ads.
Yes, a victory for our ears. Governor Newsom signed Senate Bill 76. It basically outlaws ads on streaming services, Hulu, Netflix with ads, YouTube from being significantly louder than the show you're watching.
Finally, when does that kick in?
Well, they've given the streamers plenty of time to adjust. The law doesn't actually take effect until July 1st, 2026.
Okay. Still a ways off. Next, bit of App Store politics. Apple removed an app called Eyes Up.
That's right. This app let users anonymously record and save digital evidence of ICE operations, immigration and customs enforcement. The idea was potentially for later use in court. Apple pulled it, citing their guidelines against objectionable content. But the timing is interesting. It came after the Trump administration had put pressure on similar apps, calling them things like an obstruction of justice.
So it highlights that ongoing tension, doesn't it? Between government agencies wanting operational privacy and citizens wanting to document things.
Precisely. Tech platforms often get caught in the middle, trying to stay neutral while facing pressure from powerful groups when tools allow for documenting sensitive activities.
Okay. And finally, on the legal front, closure on that big lawsuit between Elon Musk and the former Twitter execs.
Yep, that's settled. X, formerly Twitter, reached a deal with the four executives, Parag Agrawal, Ned Segal, Vijaya Gadde, Sean Edgett. This was over their severance packages, reportedly worth around $128 million combined, which they claimed they were owed contractually.
And the terms.
Not disclosed, confidential settlement. But the legal battle itself is over.
Right. And to wrap things up, OpenAI's video generator, Sora, the download numbers are pretty wild.
Absolutely explosive. It hit over 1 million downloads in less than 5 days.
1 million. And it's still invite only, right?
Still invite only. It's growing faster than ChatGPT did initially. Of course, this instant success is already causing headaches. People are generating videos with copyrighted characters, forcing OpenAI to scramble and figure out content moderation and IP issues much faster than they probably wanted to.
Okay, so this brings us full circle, doesn't it? It ties back to everything we discussed: automation, art, security. DC Comics says no to AI art. 1Password builds a wall around AI for passwords. And now Sora is just exploding into the creative space.
It really underlines that central conflict, doesn't it? This constant push for convenience, for automation in everything, securing passwords, making videos. And it runs right up against what we talked about earlier, that tension between sort of authentic human creation and just algorithmic aggregation.
So here's maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to think about. As these AI tools become woven into, well, pretty much everything we do digitally, where do you draw the line? Is there an area, maybe in your job, your creative hobbies, how you manage your security, where you'll consciously say, nope, I need a human here, human input, human oversight, maybe just human effort? What's the limit of what you're willing to delegate? Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.